Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I hope you all are doing well wherever and whenever this finds you. It was my birthday over the past weekend. Today is Tuesday. My birthday was Sunday. My birthday was on February 22nd. So, what better birthday for a girl who loves angel numbers than 222? Truly, I've loved my birthday, like the date for as long as I can remember. And now that I see angel numbers consistently all day, every day, it is even more meaningful. And I have been seeing the number 22 specifically everywhere. Like, I think I would see 222 pretty often, like 333, 444, 555, etc. But I've been seeing specifically the number 22 nonstop over the last few days, maybe like over the course of the last week or so. And I thought that this was fitting because, of course, my birthday. And also in numerology, 22 is a master number. It is representative of, or here, you know what? Let me just read it to you. In numerology, 22 is a master number known as the master builder, representing the unique ability to turn grand, imaginative dreams into physical reality. It combines the intuitive insights of 11 with the practical, grounded nature of 4, signifying balance, immense potential, and a high level capacity for manifestation and disciplined action. So I feel like that number is just so, I don't know, so perfect right now, such a perfect representation of this period in my life right now. I am working on building a business from scratch, from the ground up, and I am learning so much in that process. And it is this balance of like intuition, or the way that I'm approaching it, I'll say, is this balance of like intuition and like disciplined action. It's like there's still a lot of like logic involved, and then also letting my intuition play a role as well, this like 50-50 balance. So that number is fitting. I even, the day before my birthday, I even went to a restaurant to go pick up dinner, and I ordered, and then the cashier handed me my receipt with my order number at the top. And as he was handing it to me, he circled the number 22, and then he handed me the receipt. And I just like chuckled a little bit because I was like, wow, so fitting. And also, I say a little thank you every time I receive an angel number because I swear they just keep me going sometimes. Okay. So, yes, it was my birthday over this past weekend. It was a great birthday. I was not expecting to do much. I personally enjoy a much more chill birthday. I can't remember the last time I like had a party or anything like that. But this birthday, I went to dinner with my husband and two friends the day before my birthday. And the day of my birthday, my husband booked me a massage. So I went to go do that in the morning. And then when I came back from my massage, I opened the front door and like my whole family was there. They surprised me with like balloons and desserts and lunch, and everyone just sort of hung out. And it was just so great and just like such a nice surprise to have my family all together on my birthday. So I was definitely feeling an abundance of like love and gratitude over this weekend, which leads me to the next topic, which is I want to do a giveaway. I feel like in honor of my birthday, in honor of just like feeling this abundance of love and gratitude, I thought, what better time? Let's do a giveaway. Let's pay it forward. And I had the idea to give away a free energy healing session. So, if you're interested in a free energy healing session, or if you're interested in signing up, I'm specifically doing this for my podcast listeners because I am on TikTok as well, and I do have people there who have been really supportive of my journey and my story and the content that I'm putting out. But I feel like if you're a podcast listener, like you must really resonate with me because I go on and this is the place where I feel like truly, truly myself. Like I feel like my authentic voice is really coming through because it is a longer form platform, right? And you may or may not be listening to me talk 30 to 45 minutes at a time. So for that reason, I wanted to do a giveaway for my podcast listeners as a token of my appreciation for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. That actually does really does mean a lot to me. And okay, so the actual details of the giveaway. Basically, you can find a link in the description notes, and all you have to do is fill in your name, your email, and your intention, like what you would specifically like support with during an energy healing session. And then I will thoughtfully select a winner and respond to or send you an email. I'll contact you that way. Okay, so back to my birthday. Not to make this entirely about me, but you did tune into my podcast. So, anyways, I just turned 34 years old. I I feel really good about where I'm at in life for this age, and I feel really, 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 really excited about this like huge career pivot that I'm doing and starting this new business and being able to like be an energy healer and spend my days doing that. Like that is so exciting to me. So, 34 feels really good. I was texting my friend, one of my best friends, who is probably going to listen to this. Her birthday is 4 days before mine. We're the same age. So I feel like we go through these like birthdays together and we were kind of both agreeing. I don't know, we're always kind of in sync with like what number feels really big and what number feels like just right. And it feels like every other year. Like 30 felt just right. And then 31 was like, whoa. And then I feel like again 33 felt like just right, and then 34 feels like, whoa, we're inching a little bit closer to mid 30s. But anyways, overall, I do feel really good about this age and how things are going, and I feel like I have a lot of optimism and excitement for the year ahead. But in honor of turning 34, I thought I would spend a podcast episode just sharing some lessons from my 33rd year of life. I have always loved watching these kind of videos. Like I love clicking on videos where people are sharing like 33 lessons from my 33 years of life or something along those lines. I thought about doing that and then I realized, you know what? I share just about everything that I'm learning like pretty much in real time on this podcast. I have shared a lot of lessons since the beginning of this podcast. And so instead of doing like a really big number like that, I actually just came up with three different lessons that I wanted to share that I haven't really touched on. So we'll start with lesson number one. And the first lesson that I learned in my 33rd year of life is that my sensitivity is my power. It is my greatest superpower. And I say this as someone who, for a long time, felt like my sensitivity was like burdensome or something wrong with me. I can even recall back to an early date with my husband, and we've been together for 8 years. So, this is a conversation we had way, 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 way long time ago, way before I was into anything revolving intuition and energetics. But I've always been aware of these sensitivities. And I remember saying to him that I am empathetic to a fault. And what I meant by that is I have a lot of empathy and it is actually very taxing on me. It felt like more of this burden that I carried at that time of just like I feel everything. I feel for everyone and that can be a lot to carry. And I had recognized that from for a very long time. So these sensitivities that I've had for a very long time, my husband just sneezed. I don't know if you were able to hear that on the podcast, all the way from across the house. But, anyways, so these sensitivities that I've had for a long time, it was like my level of empathy. And there was also this piece of like, I don't know, feeling like I've always had this very calm energy, this very just like Yeah, that's how I would have described myself, just it's like sensitive and calm. And I always wanted to be more like fiery and like loud, which is funny because in my birth chart in astrology, I have had an astrology reading. I have zero fire in my chart, meaning there are no planets, no nothing happening in any of the fire signs in my chart. So when I did the reading, she said that only 25% of the population is like missing an element altogether, and the elements being fire, water, air, and earth, like the more like grounded signs. And only 25% of the population is missing a sign altogether, and I am part of that 25%. There is no fire in my chart, and I feel like I balance that out with the people that I surround myself with. So if you were to like take a look at my friend group, there is a lot of fire that I surround myself with. And even my son, I gave birth to a little Aries boy, and that kid is fiery. So I feel like I've balanced my lack of fire with like the people that I surround myself with. But a consequence of that was like always looking to these people who I admired and loved so much and feeling like I wished that I had some of that fire in me, or feeling like because I didn't have that, it was like not something wrong with me, but like, something along those lines. Part of this journey over the past year of like accepting these sensitivities that I have is also just kind of like accepting my nature, which is this more like sensitive and calm and kind of like even keeled um person. Like that is how my energy is, just like in a natural state. And a lot of this acceptance came from becoming an energy healer, right? And then realizing, oh my gosh, like part of my intuition, part of the way that that works, I'm able to feel someone's pain in my own body and therefore know where healing is needed. And oh my God, what a gift. And also, I'm like, this is like empathy on steroids. So it's kind of like when I stepped into this role of an energy healer, that really helped me to see my sensitivities as this gift that I was given that allows me to do the work that I do. And it allows me to be really good at the work that I do. And then I also did a shamanic journey this year. I did a few. I was working with a healer to do these shamanic journeys. And by shamanic journeys, I have an episode about that if you want to listen to that. But really, what it was not plant medicine, but going down into a state of, you know, a deep meditative state, a state of hypnosis, whatever you want to call it, and kind of getting deep into the subconscious and just doing work, a lot of really deep inner work. And part of that, and why I would label this a shamanic journey, is because we were doing soul retrievals, which is accessing fragmented pieces of yourself and just sort of like bringing them home. So let me actually explain that in a different way. Sometimes when we experience events that can be more traumatic, the soul can become fragmented. And the process of soul retrieval is like going to pick up and take these fragments and bringing them home. So I did a few shamanic journeys, and in each of them we did a lot of different work, but I would say in almost all of them there was a soul retrieval aspect to them. And there was one specific session that we did where I was addressing these sensitivities that I've had, these like bigger emotions where I felt like I shouldn't be reacting in this sort of way, sort of like returning to those parts of myself and bringing that home. So it was this really big acceptance of my sensitive nature. So it was this really beautiful session that we had, and it was sort of this culmination of all of this inner work that I had been already doing over the past year to change the way that I was relating to my sensitivities. And now my sensitivity is my greatest superpower. I'm literally building a business off of my sensitivity. Like that is my gift. That is what allows me to do the work that I do and to do it well. And the focus now has been learning to work with my sensitivity. So now that it's like, okay, I've accepted my sensitive nature, now it's okay, understanding that I am sensitive, that has an impact on me, and how do I have boundaries in certain places, and how do I practice daily energetic hygiene, such as the clearing, such as the protection, all of those sorts of things. Like, how am I taking care of myself? Accepting that I have this sensitive nature, and then also taking care of myself so that it can continue to be used as this gift, as my greatest superpower, rather than something that is resulting in my own depletion. Lesson number 2, I'm actually going to read to you the specific lesson because this is something that I wrote out for myself during a session of automatic writing. Okay. When you choose to carry someone else's pain, you take from them the lessons that it holds. I think that this ties well into my sensitive nature and how I have related to that level of sensitivity in the past. And for me, what that has looked like in relationship has been, I'll say, when others around me in the past, when others around me have felt a heaviness, have felt, it could be a bad mood, it could be like they're going through a rough time. I have had this like gut reflex, this like instinct to try and like lift them up, to try and like pull them out. And that has gotten me into trouble because that's not necessarily the proper way to hold space for people when you're kind of trying to combat what their experience with like something positive, right? So I believe it was my somatic hypnotherapist a few years ago who said like that's a form of gaslighting, Lisa. And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea here. I thought I was trying to help others, but really I was sort of invalidating their experience. So the reason I believe that I was attempting to sort of lift them up is because, when they're experiencing these bad moods or, these negative thought loops or negative spirals, whatever it is, my gut reaction is to attempt to lift them up because I'm feeling it with them. And I don't want to be feeling it with them. So, in an attempt to pull myself out, I'm like attempting to pull them out. And I think that that was my way of attempting to control and my way of attempting to protect myself in a way, right? Because I'm feeling what they're feeling. And if I don't want to feel that, then I need to like lift them up in order to get myself out of it. So, I think that that's how I was responding to people and relating to people for a very long time. And understanding my sensitivities and learning how to work with them has also impacted how I am responding to others. So, a lot of this ties into the work that I have done around triggers. So, working with my own triggers has really helped me to understand triggers in general and just like the purpose that they serve. And, I've talked a lot about how working with my triggers has helped me to achieve deeper levels of healing. So, even I have right now, if I open my phone, one of the first notes in my notes app, it's like labeled triggers, and I still document a lot of times things that trigger me so that I can start to uncover patterns, and that helps me then know what to address. And sometimes I work through that on my own with energy work, with automatic writing. Sometimes when I have a harder time getting to the root of specific things, I will work with healers like my Reiki master, like my um healer who did the shamanic journeys. I have mentors or people that I go to that help me work through those as well. But for me, doing so much work on triggers has also helped me understand, okay, when I'm triggering someone else, that is also giving them an opportunity to look at something within themselves. So, understanding how triggers work and how we're all sort of mirrors for each other, triggering different things within each other, that has really taught me about agency and the importance of agency. So, kind of going back to the lesson, which again I'll read: when you choose to carry someone else's pain, you take from them the lessons that it holds. So, my versions of choosing to carry someone else's pain was, trying to lift them out of these experiences from a place of control, or attempting to not trigger people because that was uncomfortable for me to realize that I was triggering people. So I was always doing this sort of like dance of like never saying anything too controversial or never saying anything to rock the boat because I never wanted to upset people. So lesson number 1 is about learning and accepting these sensitivities that I have. And lesson number 2 is about, okay, now that you have accepted that these sensitivities are your power, now learning how to change the way that I relate to other people, knowing and understanding that I have these sensitivities. And the last thing that I'll say about this piece about how I relate to other people, I think that another thing that has impacted this is just like this journey of following my intuition and believing like so passionately about this direction or about this way of living, really, about following the path of your intuition. I think that has taught me another level of agency and the importance of everyone having their own agency, and the way that I was interfering with that in the way that I was responding to people in the past. To believe in my own power and to believe in the power of my own intuition is also to believe in the power of others and to believe in the power of their intuition. In the past, when I was attempting to carry things for other people, it's almost like you're diminishing or you're not fully believing in the strength that they have or in the power that they have. It's interesting because when I was doing these things, it was coming from the purest of intentions. It was like, like you know, I don't want you to be experiencing these bad things. It's almost like a protection. Like I want to protect the people that I love. But I think that the true unconditional love comes from understanding that they carry the same level of power that you do, and to respect their journey as well is also to allow them this journey, to allow them, you know, their own agency of thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And there is a way that you can relate to people and love them and support them, and also believe in the power of their own intuition and their own journey. And, they are here to learn whatever they are here to learn. And, there's just, yeah, just respect of their soul's journey as well. Okay. I hope that that made sense. Okay. And the last lesson that I have learned in my 33rd year of life, and this is like sort of a light bulb moment or epiphany that I've had more recently, which is integration is the whole point. So, how I have approached my spiritual journey has been consistent. I've talked about it at length. I am following the path of my intuition and simultaneously embarking on this healing journey, because as I'm following my intuition, that is leading me down this path of growth and expansion. And with that comes stepping out of my comfort zone. And with that comes overcoming fears and limiting beliefs. And that is the healing journey, right? So, how I have approached this journey has remained the same. What has changed throughout time has been how I have related to this journey. So in the very beginning, I was very much in this like seeking stage of just like information, all the podcasts, the YouTube videos, the books. Like I was just immersed in this information and I was seeking it out, like the amount of QHHT sessions that I've listened to. And it was not this like feeling of like I need to study and I need to it was like I it's all I wanted to do. It's all I wanted to listen to. There was just this deep desire in me that was just seeking this information, right? So that was the focus early on. So that was the seeking stage. And then we moved into what I would say was the majority of last year, which was okay, now we're focused on the action. We are doing the work. But how I was relating to it in this phase was sort of this like chasing this desire for spiritual growth. And by spiritual growth, I mean like really like tuning into my intuition, and that's all great. Tuning into intuition, learning how to tune intuition, learning how to tune into intuition is great. But for me, it was sort of like chasing this end goal of like really wanting my gifts to be stronger than what they were. I wasn't accepting like fully where I was at, or maybe accepting that maybe everything that I needed I had access to, right? That's more of like an abundance mindset. Like I have all of the gifts that I need at this time for my journey. And for me, that's like what I should have had. And for me, it was more like, okay, well, I want to have these things because I think that when I do, that will achieve a specific outcome. And that's kind of more like stemming from a place of lack. So how I was relating to this was I was chasing spirituality as like an end goal. And I think the place that I've come to more recently, I think I just naturally I feel a lot more grounded and integrated within this. And it dawned on me that like that's the whole point. Integration is the whole point. Like spirituality, I'm gonna like air quotes like spirituality because I know that that can be um, a term used for a lot of different things, and a lot of people are going to define that differently. But I'm using that in the context when I say spirituality. I'm like, okay, connecting with my higher self, connecting with my guides, crystals, pendulums, all of these things, oracle cards, like these are all tools. They are tools that are meant to help you take grounded action in your life. But that grounded action, that is the integration, and that is the whole point. So this lesson has been this switch from like, okay, how do I be more intuitive to now, okay, the level of intuition I need is, did I get the message, right? Like, am I following the path that is in alignment with my highest possible good? And for me, as long as my intuition is just loud enough for me to stay on this path, then it is loud enough. Then it is exactly what it is supposed to be, and it is doing exactly what it is supposed to be doing, right? Sometimes your intuition does need to be louder when you are not taking the action, when you are not moving in the direction of your highest good, and your intuition will sort of try and bring you back on track. But if I am on this path, if I'm aligning on this path and I am taking the steps and doing the action, then maybe angel numbers is all I needed to see in order to do that, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So I think what really helped drive this home for me recently, and I'm calling it a light bulb moment, an epiphany. I have heard this many of times before, but I think that it really sunk in for me this time after I started doing energy healing sessions like on clients, like starting my business and actually starting to do sessions with clients. And I think that what I came to realize was that my gifts, my intuition was exactly what I needed in order to support the people that were coming to me for these sessions. It was like this true understanding that I had access to the abilities that I needed in order to move forward. It was like really switching to that abundance mindset. Whereas before it was like, oh, I need stronger intuition. It was like, no, your intuition. And for me, it was more so like I have really strong intuition when it comes to my clairsentience. So I've talked about like my hands move on their own when I'm conducting this healing, and they are signaling to me what is needed. They are conducting the healing, I am witnessing it. It is working through me. And so that sense of intuition is really, really strong. But for me, I'm like, well, you know, I want to be also seeing things and I want to be also like knowing things, like feeling this like lack in these other senses. And then coming back and doing these healing sessions and realizing I don't actually need those other senses to do the work that I'm doing. Of course, maybe one day down the road those will develop. I don't know. But at this point in time, the gifts that I have access to are exactly what I need to be able to do this work. And so that really helped to drive the point home for me of like, intuition is a tool, and all you need to be able to access is what is helpful for you in that moment. So, again, pendulums, crystals, connecting with your higher self, connecting with your guides, all things that I love. And simultaneously, these are tools. And the whole point, the goal is actually the integration. How are you using these tools to move forward in your life in a way that is for your highest possible good, in a way that is leading you towards growth and expansion? So, those are some of the lessons from my 33rd year of life. I know that there were like a million more, but I've just talked at length about a lot of the things that I'm learning on this podcast. So these are some of the points that I felt like I hadn't fully addressed yet. So I thought I'd take a moment and share those. But, anyways, thank you so much for listening. I will repeat again, join the giveaway if you're interested. All you need to do is fill out your name, your email, and your intention, the intention that you like to set for the session. And then I will be selecting someone to receive a personalized one-on-one energy healing session from me. So, again, thank you for listening, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye.